Hello there guys, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Hunters video. Today I have a brand new update concept for you, and I'm going to be making this a weekly series where I'll start off with all of the films first before moving on to the TV shows after I've done them. Now you might be wondering what actually is an update concept. Well, a bit like my Hunter concept videos, update concepts are ideas that I have for content that could come to Star Wars Hunters inspired by the Star Wars films and TV shows. In these videos, I'll be taking a look at the potential maps, hunters, and cosmetics, and sometimes even game modes that I think could be added to the game. Since I'm starting off with the films first, it makes sense to go in chronological order, so today I have some maps, hunters, and cosmetic ideas inspired by Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It's also worth noting before I get into it that if you feel like I missed anything, or you have some ideas of your own, then I'd absolutely love to hear them, and my favourite ideas will be featured at the start of the next update concept. Starting off with the maps then, Episode 1 features 3 planets, Tatooine, Naboo and Coruscant. Tatooine already features quite heavily in the game with 1 Huttball map, half an escort map and 2 control maps. Hunters at the moment is very clearly inspired by the original trilogy, however there is already some Episode 1 influence in there, given that one of the control maps is literally called Mos Espa Pod Race, inspired by the Boonta Eve race in the film. So there aren't really any maps from Tatooine that I can see them adding, unless they did a map inspired by Beggar's Canyon, but I'd honestly rather them focus on other planets like Naboo. Naboo is the main planet for Episode 1 and features a number of different environments. There's the beautiful architecture of Theed, the lush fields of the Naboo plains, and then you have Oto Gunga, the jungle and the swamp. 5 pretty unique areas that could all feature maps, though the swamp and the jungle is fairly similar. Now I won't go into specific maps for all of these areas for all 3 game modes as we'd be here all day, but I will go over a few that I'd personally love to see. Firstly, and I know they may not want to do indoor maps, but I'd love to see a control map that takes place inside of Oto Gunga. The environment in LEGO Star Wars Star Saga is gorgeous, and I think it could translate well into Hunters. Another map that I think would be great is an escort map that takes us from the Naboo plains into Theed, potentially even into the palace. The story for it could then be a bunch of destroyed battle droids that are then taken to the palace to try and retrieve information from them. Now I know the 2 escort maps currently in the game have 2 planets in them each, but I think it would be nice to have some escort maps that are on one singular planet, but perhaps different locations within that, which this Naboo map could definitely do. The final map that I'd specifically like to see is a Huttball map on the Naboo plains. It would be nice and green, hilly and have those big stone heads. With regards to Coruscant, there isn't really anything that I would like to see added from Episode 1, but I will go over things in Episode 2 and 3 for those maps, so definitely stay tuned to them. Moving on now to the Hunters, I won't go into their abilities or skins as I'll leave that to the Hunter concept videos, but from Episode 1 there are 4 Hunters that I think they could add. Firstly, there's a lot of potential for Gungan and Tusken Raider Hunters, and I've done a Hunter concept video for each of them already, so I'll leave a link to them in the description for you to check out if you haven't already. Then they could also add a B1 battle droid and at a push a Nemoidian. I'd like to see a Nemoidian as we see them quite a lot in the Phantom Menace, but obviously they don't really see any action, so it might not make that much sense to add them from this case, but obviously that wouldn't really be an issue for them. Finally, we have some skins. At the end of the day, there's probably loads that they could add to the game from the film, but I have about 8 specific skins that I would personally like to see. Starting off with Sprocket, he has a skin in the game inspired by the Cloud Car and the Cloud Car pilot, so I think it would be awesome if Sprocket had a skin for his chair, which would be the N1 Starfighter, and then a skin for himself as the Naboo pilot. Other skins for Sprocket's chair could then be inspired by the Separatist AATs, a Vulture Droid, and the Naboo Flash Speeder. I just really like the idea of Sprocket's chair getting skins inspired by vehicles, and Sprocket himself getting skins inspired by the pilots, so I'd love to see more of that. Next, I'd really like to see a Naboo Royal Guard skin for Zaina and an S5 weapon skin for her pistol. Pretty much any pistol in Star Wars could be a skin for Zaina's weapon, which I love, and then pretty much any kind of Rebellion or Republic security force and whatnot could be a skin for Zaina, so there's a lot of potential for her as well. On the topic of weapon skins, I think it would be really interesting to see Imara Vex get a weapon skin for her rifle with an E5. Imara's weapon could essentially be any blaster rifle in Star Wars, so the E5 used by the B1 battle droids could potentially work quite well, though of course if they were to add a B1 Hunter, then I wouldn't want to see an E5 weapon skin for Imara. Finally, I'd like to see them add more pod racer skins for Slingshot. This red one in the game already is amazing, and there's loads of pods in the Phantom Menace, so I think it would be really cool to get a few more of them in there. So guys, they are the maps, hunters and skins that I would like to see come to Star Wars Hunters inspired by the Phantom Menace. Let me know what you think of my ideas in the comments below, and be sure to let me know yours as well. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.